In this tutorial, we're going to get more familiar with how to connect NPN and PNP sensors to PLC inputs. Sensors with digital outputs come in two types: relay type and transistor type. The output of relay type sensors is a relay that switches on and off. But the output of transistor type sensors can have three different modes: NPN, PNP, and totem pole. So what are the differences between these? In the NPN configuration, the load is connected to the positive supply and its negative side, which is ground, is switched. But in the PNP configuration, the load is connected to ground and its positive side needs to be switched. And totem pole sensors are a combination of NPN and PNP. This means the load can be connected to either the positive or the negative side. Now, when we want to connect a transistor sensor to the digital input of a device, such as a PLC, the internal optocoupler of the digital input, which we discussed in detail in the previous lesson, acts as the load for the transistor sensor. To put it simply, if we have an NPN sensor, the load is connected to the positive and we need to switch the negative side. And by load, we mean the internal optocoupler of the PLC. So this means we should connect the positive to the COM terminal and switch the negative. In the previous lesson, we said that if we connect plus 24 volts to the COM on the PLC inputs and switch the negative, this type of connection is called source. So if our sensor is of the NPN type, its connection should be in the source configuration. Now, conversely, if our sensor is of the PNP type, it means the load or the internal optocoupler of the PLC should be connected to ground and switch the positive 24 volts. And we previously said that in a PLC, if we specifically connect the negative input terminal to the COM and switch the positive, this configuration is known as sync. So, if our sensor is of the PNP type, it will be connected to the PLC in a sync configuration. Let's now move on to the essential equipment and carefully examine in detail how to properly connect both NPN and PNP type sensors to the PLC input module. Here, we have an NPN sensor that we want to connect to the digital input I0, and we've written a simple program so that whenever the digital input I0 is activated, the digital output Q0 will be activated and this signal lamp will turn on. As we mentioned, we connect the NPN sensor to the PLC in a source configuration. Therefore, since these two particular wires are specifically for powering the sensor itself, and they genuinely do not draw much electrical current, we can confidently take them from the PLC's internal power supply. And then the crucial wire that is the sensor's return, or more precisely its signal wire, we meticulously connect to the digital input I0. And since our connection is of the source type, we take the PLC's common from the positive terminal of the PLC's power supply, which is the 24-volt terminal. Now, if we trigger the sensor, you'll see that according to the program we've written, Q0 is activated and our signal lamp turns on. Now, if our sensor was of the PNP type, it would be enough to connect it in sync mode. That is, we would take the PLC's common from the negative terminal of the power supply